In the Elgar Parishad violence Bhima Koregaon case, 16 social activists are already in jail under various charges. One of them was a plot to assassinate PM Modi. But now there is a new turn in this case. According to a foreign digital forensic lab, American digital forensic lab, it's been revealed that some evidence has been planted in the accuser's computer. What is the entire story? We are right now joined by the activist lawyer Mihir Desai, senior advocate, who will tell us what exactly is the truth about this and what is their next step going to be. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, could you tell us what is this entire matter now? There is a new report which has come in. Arsenal Forensic Lab has come out with a new report. What does the report say and how true is that report?
I'll just give you a background. See, the background is this, that this report pertains to Rona Wilson's computer. Rona Wilson is one of the accused. Okay? His computer was seized. And from his electronic data, the Pune police had filed, on the basis of that, Pune police had filed a charge sheet and had made allegations that a number of people, based on the data available on his computer, are involved in a conspiracy of various kinds, including some attempt on the life of the Prime Minister, arms, buying arms, then some international conferences, etc., etc. So that kind of conspiracy. And so the entire, and on the basis of these kind of letters and all, 16 people have been arrested and are presently in jail. The entire evidence against these 16 people is based on what is found on the electronic devices of 3-4 people. Okay, one of them being Rona. Okay. When the case was going on in Pune, we had requested the Pune court to ask the police investigating agencies to give us clone copies of what they had seized, because we have a right to access that. So the court had directed them and they gave us the clone copies. Once we got the clone copies, the defense team decided that we need to get it independently investigated, because our clients were all the time maintaining their innocence vis-a-vis these letters. Okay, so we sent the defense team decided to send it to get it analyzed by somebody who is well known, who is well experienced, who is unimpeachable in terms of the credibility, and who is an expert in this field. Arsenal in Massachusetts, USA, is one of the leading forensic organization, which has done a lot of work for private parties, for governments, on various issues. Okay, and they are experts in this field. Therefore, we finally approached them and asked them to do a forensic analysis of this disk of Rona Wilson, especially the 10 letters.
What are the letters?
Well, one of the letters, as I mentioned, is about the Prime Minister's, about the attempt on Prime Minister. Another was pertaining to arm procurement. Third one was pertaining to something else, international conspiracy. Various letters. There are 8, 9, 10 letters. We said that first you analyze these, check the computer, give us an authenticate and an independent analysis of how these are these authentic documents or are they unauthentic, and if they are not authentic, on what basis you are seeing it. So they worked on it for a couple of months, and now they have come out with a report which came out only yesterday or day before. Okay, in which they basically say that in their executive summary they say that, look, we have done large number of forensic analysis, but we have never come across tampering of the kind which has been done on this person's computer. Okay, their whole analysis reveals, okay, that a malware was planted on the computer of Rona Wilson, and over a period of 2 years, okay, up to the date of the raid, okay, up to 1 day before the raid, things were planted on his computer. These letters especially, were planted on his computer without his knowledge. Okay, not prepared by him, not ever opened by him even subsequently. So no knowledge of Rona Wilson about these documents.
And these letters were planted for a period of 2 years.
2 years from time to time. Okay, so that's the thing. So essentially, what the report is saying, and the conclusion of the report, and they've gone into they've given all the details of why this report, etc., etc., and on what basis they have come to the conclusion. Those are technical details. But essentially, what the report says is that all the 10 documents on which reliance is placed by the prosecution to implicate not only Mr. Rona Wilson but some of the others are all planted on his computer, do not originate from his computer, are planted by somebody whom he doesn't know, are planted in a manner in which he doesn't even know those letters exist on his computer. So they have been essentially, I mean, our conclusion is they have been essentially planted to implicate him. Okay, in a conspiracy, him and the others. So that's broadly what the report says. We are confident about the authenticity of the report. It's an organization whose authenticity has been tested time and again internationally. Okay, so we see no reason why it should not be authentic this time.
So do we know the source of this malware? Anywhere in the report has it been mentioned?
Well, they discuss it, but they say that the person who has planted the malware, they provide you with the manner in which it is planted.
Okay.
The report provides in the various softwares which were used to plant it, but the report says that it has been done through a method by which it becomes difficult to find out who actually was actually planted it. We can clearly come to the conclusion it is a planted documents. Who actually planted it? I wish we would know that who actually planted it. We have our own suspicion as to who planted it, but that apart, okay. The report says that it's difficult to make out because it's done very skillfully and by somebody who had lot of time and lot of expertise.
So the question, sir, is that do the Indian forensic lab did not find this kind of evidence that was planted? Like, didn't they find any malware which was probably planted?
Well, the question first to be asked is whether they looked for a malware. You see, because when you are looking into a computer, okay, your job as a forensic lab is not only to see what is on the computer, but how did that come on the computer. Okay, whether that originates from that computer, whether that originates from an email, whether it originates from a floppy disk or a pen drive or whatever it is, that's the job. Okay, now if you don't do that, okay, and looking at the report of the Indian laboratory means it's basically a government laboratory. Okay, supposedly independent. We'll come to that independence and all later, but the point is that that laboratory says that according to that lab. Okay, I mean, if you look at the report does not really disclose whether they've at all gone into the issue of trying to find out whether there is malware or not. And I personally feel that in a case like this, where you are asking people to be sent to prison for their lives, okay, that's your demand, that they should be in prison for their entire lives, based only on computerized document. I think the response, if it was an independent investigation, they would have tried to find out whether there is a malware or not.
But then, sir, that time's Chief Minister and Home Minister Devendra Fadnavis, he today said that the government had clinching evidence against these activists, and that is the reason they had pressed these charges. However, he denied to comment more on the report per se, but he says that they had clinching evidence.
Please ask him a question as to what is this nature of clinching evidence. Okay, it's all right to be a mouthpiece of the police or of the central government, but please ask him what is the nature of clinching evidence. Is he at all aware of what evidence he is talking about, or he's saying it because that's the best thing for an ex-chief minister to say? Okay. So what can I say? He is saying there is clinching evidence. Tell him to show it. I would want to see it.
And final question, sir, what is your next step going to be? You have already filed a petition in Bombay High Court. So what is your demand going to be now?
Our demand is very clear. Our demand is that to drop charges against all these people, which are based essentially on these electronic documents, which is suspect completely. Release them immediately. And give them compensation for having kept them behind bars for 2 years, making them and their families suffer so much. That's what our demand. And find out who conspired to put all these malware and all. Okay. So our demand is that. That's our demand.
All right, thank you so much for talking to us. So that was Senior Advocate Mihir Desai, who says that now their demand is going to be to drop charges against these activists and release them, and also find out what the conspiracy was and who implicated these activists. In Mumbai with camera person Ashok Maharik, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.